Hello friends. Today we are going to discuss about administrative reforms, especially since the government has started changing the administrative system of the country, especially in central services. This article was written by Sanjeev Sanyal, who is the principal economic advisor to the Ministry of Finance. So this article becomes important and this topic also becomes important for us to discuss. So there could be a question in the GS2 part of your general studies, that is general studies paper 2 part in your governance topic. They may ask you a question like this, that discuss the recent administrative reforms initiated to transform the administrative machinery in India. Also suggest a way forward. So we should know that the government is initiating reforms in not just the Group A services, but also in B and C services. So, what are these reforms? You may have heard about lateral entry system, and the lateral entry system was designed to induct specialized knowledge into Group A services at the level of joint secretaries. These appointments were supervised by UPSC, and these appointments have already begun. The specialized joint secretaries are already serving in the government. Later, the government also tried to change the Group B and C services. How did the government change that? By introducing National Recruitment Agency. You must have heard about it. You must have read about it. We have also discussed it amply in our videos. Uh, Also, you may have heard about the system to transform our tax assessment, and the charter system for taxpayers. So these are a few reforms that I'm talking about. For the detailed explanation of the reforms, let us look at this article. Okay, so before going forward, you can just read this introduction yourself. We'll directly go to the background of these reforms. In the background, Sanjeev Sanyal discusses about the statements given by our respective leaderships. First, he is discussing about Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru's statement that the greatest regret that he confessed in 1964 before his demise was that he failed to change an essentially colonial administration. Why did he use the term colonial administration? Because our bureaucracy is a relic of colonial past. The same administrative system that the British used that the British used in controlling India, we inherited the same system and the same model of governance for independent India. So Prime Minister Nehru was uh, regretting about his inability to change this colonial administrative system. Similarly, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi expressed uh, such sentiments in Parliament in 1966, that a revolution in the administrative system is very important, because without such a change, no enduring change in the society or in any other field can be brought. So she was also skeptical about the existing colonial administrative system, that we are continuing it till today. You may have heard about it, or you may have even read about it during your UPSC preparation. Uh, the first Administrative Reforms Commission, the reports of which are very important for your governance subject. You have to read the selected reports of it for your preparation. The first Administrative Reforms Commission was set up in 1966 under Morarji Desai. Uh, he made such a voluminous reports. He made such a voluminous reports and recommendations, but he himself failed to recommend those um, the reports and the findings and the studies by the time when he became the prime minister. And now Sanjeev is talking about the reforms of 1991. You may have heard the liberalization, privatization, and globalization reforms that we initiated in 1990 era uh, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narasimha Rao. So these reforms may have freed many parts of our economy, but it failed to change the functioning of bureaucracy. This is a very big grudge of our government officials or of our political leadership, that we may have taken the pain to ease the economy by freeing it from the clutches of socialism, but we failed to replicate the same autonomous or free market model in our bureaucracy. Therefore, the second Administrative Reforms Commission was set up under Virappa Moily, his Congress party leader, who made this following statement. It believes that the term "it" here is about the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy believes that its authority and legitimacy is derived not from the mandate of the people, but from an immutable corpus of rules that it has prescribed for itself, without any correspondence to the needs and aspirations of the people. So, what does he mean by this statement? He is saying that the bureaucracy thinks that its mandate is not derived from the people, that it is not designed to serve the people, but it is designed to serve the rules that are made for them. So it is not following the public interest, it is following the rule book, and in case of a conflict between the two, the bureaucracy gives prominence to the rule book at the cost of public interest. So these were some observations of Sanjeev Sanyal regarding the administrative reforms and the need for administrative reforms. So let us see what are the latest reforms in public administration that our government has initiated. The first reform that I was talking about was National Recruitment Agency. Actually, it is in our it is by design we just see administrative reforms uh, with the spectacle of reforming the group A services, that is the higher level of bureaucracy. But the secondary or tertiary level of bureaucracy is a very big machine in itself. You should know that this higher bureaucracy is a very thin layer of gazetted officers, while the secondary or tertiary level or the subordinate level of bureaucracy forms a very big part of our administrative machinery. So, to reform that big part of our administration, the government has established a national recruitment agency which will conduct a common eligibility test for its entrance for its recruitment purposes, through which the government aims to standardize the model of recruitment and bring a uniform structure in the recruitment process. We shall hope that such a model of uniformity and standardization will be followed by the states as well. Okay, so let us see the second part. In the second part, Sanjeev Sanyal is discussing about compulsory retirement to remove the unfit. What is compulsory retirement? It is essentially a mechanism to weed out the unfit from the bureaucracy. So, as we all may have seen, that the government has started such weeding out of the unfit from the State Bank of India and some other PSUs. Even in the BSNL, such a scheme is being designed to weed out such unfit people who are above the age of 50 or 55, in case their service has been more than 30 years in the organization. So this is not a new mechanism, as you may be thinking that this compulsory retirement to remove the unfit people from the organization is a new initiative. No, it's not a new initiative. It is already there in the CCS rules. Ab CCS, the CCS is actually Central Civil Services. So the fundamental rule 56J, this fact you should remember in case you want to uh, decorate your answer with facts, then you should remember this fact itself. The fundamental rule 56J or 1 and rule 48 of CCS pension rules already prescribe that if the civil servants if the government seems it fit to review the services of civil servants who have completed 30 years of services or crossed the age of 50, uh, or in case even if their services are less than 30 years, then the criteria of 55 years of age has to be followed. So the government can weed out such people whose integrity is doubtful or who are underperforming in their field of service. So these services, under this rule, the government has already weeded out 320 senior officers, as we can see it here, since the year 2014. And these removals are supported by Supreme Court judgments. So these are perfectly legal ways of removing the inept or corrupt officials from the services. So this is a very important part of administrative reforms, that is about rationalizing the services, that is weeding out the corrupt and making optimum use of the civil servants in the bureaucratic machinery. Okay, the third point is rationalization of autonomous bodies. uh, and now, what are these autonomous bodies? You may have seen many think tanks, advisory boards, research institutions, and all that, which are autonomous in character, but they are assigned to relevant departments or ministries. Some of these institutions have they have duplicity in character. I mean, they are performing dual roles. In case uh, uh, they are in some cases, like in the Ministry of Textiles, they found that some of the institutions were doing duplication, and the other institution was found to be redundant because the job assigned to that institution was already being done by another institution. So such institutions need to be weeded out because it is consuming a lot of resources. Such institutions are consuming a lot of resources. So the government is making a plan to comprehensively review all such institutions which are performing duplication, which are found to be duplicating the roles, and which have become redundant with the passage of time. So once this review gets completed, we can think of rationalizing our autonomous bodies. Through this rationalization, we can save a lot of resources, and we can prevent the onslaught of bureaucracy upon normal people and our industry. Okay, so the last point that Sanjeev Sanyal has discussed is about Taxpayers Charter and Faceless assessment. You may have heard the recent launch of Faceless assessment of income tax returns. We have discussed it in our videos that an autonomous an automated IT system will now review your IT returns, and the government plans to or intends to minimize physical contact between the taxpayer and the tax and the income tax department. Okay, it has also launched a taxpayers charter in which the rights of the taxpayers are clearly enunciated. So this initiative is intended to lessen the burden of the citizen in while filing his returns and contacting the government. It will effectively improve the interface of the government with the citizen. So in a nutshell, government has initiated five reforms actually. The first one I discussed with you was the lateral entry system, in which I told you about how specialized uh, talent is being inducted at the level of joint secretary in the higher levels of bureaucracy. Of course, it is being done by the UPSC. The second is about the subordinate bureaucracy, in which a national platform for recruitment has been established under the name of National Recruitment Agency. The third is compulsory retirement scheme that we all are seeing in the news these days. The third is about rationalization of autonomous bodies that I told you about, that the government is comprehensively reviewing institutions which are found to be redundant, or which are doing roles which have been found to be dual or duplicate in character. And the last one is about the relates to the income tax, or a system that under in which the taxpayers are interacting with the government. Okay, so what is the way forward for this administrative reform scheme? The way forward is, as suggested by Sanjeev Sanyal, is to improve the inflow or outflow of personnel. That is about recruitment and retirement. Rationalize processes. How would you rationalize processes? By removing duplication and redundant, by removing the institutions which are found to be in duplicating in character or redundant. Weed out redundant bodies, it's a continuity of the previous suggestion, and upgrade the interface with the citizen, as we have seen in the taxpayer charter and the faceless assessment scheme. Sanjeev Sanyal is saying that the momentum is only going to accelerate. It means that the government has planned further reforms in the administrative field, and we shall see such reforms in the coming few days. So that was the topic for today. It is a very important topic for your governance uh, topic of GS2. We'll meet with another topic next time. Until then, thank you.